Hello and welcome to the video outline BOMA Office 2017 Space Classification and Wall Priority. This video will cover essentials for polylining to this standard, so I recommend that you pause, rewind, rewatch, and take notes as often as possible. It's also important to note that in the context of this video, the words measure and polyline have the same meaning, as do the words layer and space classification. In another video, we discussed how the boundary area polyline, the B17-BA layer, is used to show the total square feet of a given floor. Once that polyline has been created, once we know the total square feet, we need to measure and classify the spaces within. For example, if a floor has a boundary area that measures 20,000 square feet, only 16,000 of that might make up the tenant area, while the other 4,000 square feet might make up the core area. This core area could include 700 square feet of restrooms, 500 square feet of stairs, 500 square feet of elevators, and so on. Each area of a floor within the boundary area needs to be polylined, and when done properly, can be added together to match the square feet of the boundary area. The goal here is to help you better understand the various space classifications and the wall priority between them. Now, wall priority, which you'll hear a lot during this video, refers to a situation when two or more areas of different space classification share a wall or walls with one another. But why do the walls matter? Isn't the square footage of a room determined by its floor area? Well, in many cases, yes. If someone wanted to know the square footage of a room that measured 7 feet by 7 feet, they could confidently multiply the length and the width for a resulting 49 square feet. But remember, our polylines must total the square feet of the boundary area. If we measured each room this way, our total square feet would be significantly less because we'd be leaving out every wall thickness, potentially hundreds of square feet. This means that if our measured square feet are to match the boundary area, all the walls will need to be included. But if two rooms share a wall, which one gets to include the wall thickness in its square foot measurement? Enter wall priority. Wall priority tells us which room will include the wall based on the types of rooms that are sharing it. For example, a corridor sharing its walls with both a restroom and tenant area will get to include the walls it shares with the tenant, but the walls it shares with the restroom will remain with the restroom. More information regarding wall priority can be found in BOMA 2017 for office buildings, page 25. This video is going to focus on the more commonly used space classifications and the wall priority between them, such as rentable exclusions, major vertical penetrations, building service areas, parking area, floor service areas, base building circulation, tenant ancillary areas, tenant area, and occupant storage area. The following less commonly used space classifications are discussed in another video, such as ancillary retail area, building amenity area, interbuilding amenity area, interbuilding service area, service and amenity area, and occupant storage circulation. But let's look at the more common space classifications in a little more detail. Rentable exclusion, B17-RenX. Rentable exclusions take wall priority over all other space classifications. These areas include open to blows or building voids. Now, colonnades, covered galleries, and similar unenclosed building features are also considered rentable exclusions, but are polylined independently and require a separate boundary area. Next we have major vertical penetrations, B17-MVP. Major vertical penetrations take wall priority over all space classifications except for rentable exclusions. These are areas that physically penetrate the floor of a building, such as elevators, shafts, and stairs. There are a few things you need to remember when polylining MVPs. 1. At the lowest level of a building, often a parking or basement level, an elevator shaft, or stair are not considered MVPs because at the lowest level, they do not penetrate the floor. 2. A stair can originate above the lowest level of a building and will not be polylined as an MVP if it doesn't penetrate the floor. And 3. When polylining a stair, the boundary can change drastically based on its configuration. More details on MVPs can be found in BOMA 2017 for office buildings, pages 26 through 28. Next up, we have Building Service Area, B17-BSA. Building service areas take wall priority over all space classifications except for rentable exclusions and MVPs. And as the name would suggest, these are areas that provide service to the building or to all occupants within a building. BSA tends to occur at basements, parking levels, first floors, and penthouses, but can occasionally be found elsewhere. Areas that provide service to all occupants of a building generally include parking in first floor lobbies, egress corridors, and stairs at their lowest level, while areas that provide service to the building can include mechanical rooms, elevator machine rooms, building storage rooms, security and engineer offices, loading docks, and so on. Building service area is further discussed and can be found in BOMA 2017 for office buildings, page 36. Parking area, B17-Park. Parking areas take wall priority over all space classifications except rentable exclusions, MVPs, and BSA, but should only be polylined when it exists within a structure or beneath a building. Rooms or areas that specifically service parking are also considered parking area and are polylined using this layer. More details on parking area can be found in BOMA 2017 for office buildings, page 29. Floor service area, B17-FSA. Floor service areas take wall priority over all space classifications except for rentable exclusions, MVPs, BSA, and parking area. Floor service areas are rooms or areas in a building that provide services to a specific floor or circulation for only the occupants of that floor. These areas can include restrooms, janitor rooms or closets, telephone or electrical rooms or closets, and so on. Restrooms at the first floor, though often used by all occupants of the building, will be considered floor service areas as long as they relatively stack with the restrooms at the ascending floors. Floor service area is further discussed and can be found in BOMA 2017 for office buildings, page 34. Base building circulation, B17-BBC. Base building circulation will only take wall priority against tenant ancillary area and tenant area. It is similar to floor service area because it must exist exclusively for the occupants of a floor. It includes elevator lobbies and corridors, and is established by connecting stairs and elevators to every service room on a floor. Any parts of a corridor that extend beyond these areas are not part of BBC. If no corridors exist, like with many single-tenant floors, this layer will be used to create an invisible corridor. The shape, length, and width of this invisible corridor should be determined by the existing tenant walls, because we assume that, should the floor ever be converted to a multi-occupant build-out, they would utilize the existing walls wherever possible. Where no tenant walls exist, the boundary can be set by copying the most common corridor configuration throughout the building. When doing this, it's important to remember to adjust the BBC to account for possible changes to stair, elevator, or service room access. In some cases, BBC might exist on the first floor of a building if an argument could be made that it only services the first floor tenants. For more details on base building circulation, refer to BOMA 2017 for office buildings, pages 37 through 39. Tenant Ancillary Area, B17-T-Ants. Tenant ancillary areas will only take wall priority against tenant area. These are the areas within the built corridor that extend beyond the BBC and include extended circulation and door setbacks. Because these only occur in built corridors, tenant ancillary area is rarely seen at single tenant floors. More information on tenant ancillary areas can be found in BOMA 2017 for office buildings, pages 32 and 33. Tenant Area, B17-T Area. Tenant area does not take wall priority against any other space classifications. It is all the space remaining on the floor that is meant for occupants, namely office area and balconies. Tenant storage rooms may also be included in the tenant area polyline, but only on floors with office area. For example, a tenant storage room located off the corridor of an office level floor will be included in the tenant area, while a tenant storage room in a parking garage will not. Tenant area is discussed further in BOMA 2017 for office buildings, page 31. Last up, we have occupant storage area, B17-O store. Occupant storage areas are similar to tenant area in that they do not take wall priority against any other areas. This space classification is almost exclusively reserved for tenant storage rooms or cages that occur on a level without tenant area, such as a parking or basement level. More information on occupant storage areas can be found in BOMA 2017 for office buildings, page 30. Now, you might have noticed that each space classification we discussed here had a lower wall priority than the one before it, and that's not by accident. Experience has taught us that polylining by order of descending levels of wall priority can help to avoid critical issues. It forces correct wall priorities by process of elimination. So to recap, the space classification with the highest wall priority and to be polylined first are rentable exclusions, followed by MVPs, then building service areas, parking area, floor service areas, base building circulation, tenant ancillary area, and with the lowest wall priority, tenant area and occupant storage area. With a stronger understanding of both boundary area and space classification, you will be able to effectively polyline most office buildings. Thank you for watching, and please join me in our next video where we put all that we've learned into action.